thank you so much for tuning in to. I'm so excited that I can't even say what I'm saying. Tuning in to our latest podcast, and this is normally where I say thank you, Brandon Hodde. Although I was saying it wrong, it's Brandon Hodde. That's really bad of me, Brandon Hodde, for your music. But guess what? I have Brandon Hodde on my podcast.
Yes, where he is.
He's right here.
Yeah.
And we are so excited because he is my very favorite country music artist. If you know me, you know I wear this Brandon Hodde shirt everywhere. And so if you've ever been around me, you're like, okay, Lynn, you can wear a different shirt. I really do wear this all the time. And I play his music all the time. So I'm super excited to have him on here. He's a big supporter of the Academy. He lets us use his music on videos and on our podcast. So please go look him up and let's get going. Please tell us all about yourself and what you're doing, Brandon.
Yes, ma'am. So yeah, I mean, I guess I used to not call myself a songwriter, but I write a few songs these days, and I don't know where it really even started. I had a buddy of mine. His name is Clay Caster. He's got some things out there too, and he's a really good songwriter. And I guess one day, I just thought to myself, I wonder if I can write songs. And so I just challenged myself, and a couple years down the road later, here I am. Which I wouldn't say I write any big hits or anything, but I just try to write music that maybe people can relate to in some fashion. And I know I've got well over 100 songs of stuff that hasn't been released at this point. But I released an album back in 2021, and that was a fun album. It was really cool. It was like my debut music album. I appreciate y'all for always streaming it and using it and everything. And yeah, that was like my entrance into this singer songwriter thing, and it was fun. It was a great album to get that intro, get your feet wet and stuff. And I by no means am new to music. It's actually kind of funny. Nobody would ever really expect it, but I grew up playing polka music. Uh, so yeah, my grandpa, he's had a band for 60 years now, and I started playing drums in that band, playing polka music when I was 11. And so nobody ever suspects that, right? But it's cool. It's cool about upbringing. I play about 24 different instruments, I think. And that was all kind of, just growing up in a musical family. And my dad plays like, 15, 20 instruments himself. Mom plays a handful. My sister plays a handful. My grandpa plays. It's just we always had multi-instrumentalists, right? And so I think that's where the songwriting thing kind of came into play for the countryside. Because when I got growing up, I was just the polka kid. Like that's all I wanted to play was polka music, and I still love that kind of music. It's definitely a cultural type of appreciation thing. You got to be in it, and some people that aren't even in it, they enjoy it too, right? And so I guess somewhere along the way, I think it was probably about high school. I really started to find where country music was, and I kind of grown up around like some people call it old timey music, right? I call it just traditional country music, like Merle Haggard and Ray Price and Gene Watson, Gary Stewart, all those guys that were hitting it hard, before I was even born. And so my grandpa was a big Merle Haggard fan, and I don't know. I guess just kind of grew into the Texas country thing, and then that kind of kept going, and started finding a knack for my style, right? And I don't know. I just kind of started running with it from there and writing about whatever I can. I'm not the type to write about pickup trucks and drinking beer and a pasture or something. That's just not the kind of writing that I can do. I've tried. It didn't go well.
I love your music. Like I legitimately love your music. It's got an old time flavor to it, but yet it's like you said, it's not your always the traditional same songs over and over. It's real. I love the small town one. There's just something very comforting about your music, which is why I listen to it all the time. And both Peyton and I listen to it in the car a lot. And
Yeah, we do.
it's just, I don't know, your music if you like country music, you're going to love his music. And I think one of the best things about your music is it's easy to sing along with it. You know, sometimes some of the country songs they go so that it's kind of hard to sing with it. Yours, it's easy to sing with, and I love that. And I love that there's so much to it. Like your words aren't just the same repetitive either. And I just find it very, I don't know, I love it, and I'm probably your biggest fan. I mean, I really think I am. And that's why I was so excited to have you on the podcast, because as far as I'm concerned, country music, and I've said this before and I stand by this, all musicians, I believe it's all musicians, but because I'm such a big country music fan, country music artists are no different than small business. So when people go shop local or support small guys, support the up and coming music artists. You know, whatever music you listen to, support them, put them on your playlist, talk to other people about them. If you're in a restaurant that, you know, plays, you know, like requests, or you know, I've literally said it to Black Bear Diner. Can you put these certain people on your, you know, they have those big jukebox. If you have a local restaurant, ask them to play the small country music, guys. I mean, if you like the other music, then use that music. But for me, country music, because you know what? There's nothing better than you can do than to have people listen to somebody's song. It's just like go shop at the small local stores. Well, go support small artists that are up and coming. That's how they get, you know, make a living off of it.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's a tricky game we play out here, because one of the toughest things that, you know, I have found in my short career in country music is that, you know, it's not hard to make the music. It's not hard to write the music. Or I mean, sometimes it is. You know, there's certain songs that you want to get just right, and you spend a little more time on it. But what the hardest part about the music is honestly getting shows. That's the biggest thing. And so where I'm going with that, kind of to kind of full circle that right back around, right, is by streaming the music, by listening to these artists, you know, unfortunately, it's kind of a sad thing, but I mean, it's a tool, right? It's a helpful tool. But like Spotify, for instance, a lot of people that are venue owners and, like, you know, these booking agents that are booking guys, you know, they're looking to see what, you know, how many followers or how many listens that a Spotify artist will have, right? And so, you know, Spotify to me is almost, it's become like this measurable to how successful someone is in a sense, right? Like if you've got, you know, like me, I don't think I have a whole lot of listens right now. I had it up at one point, but I'm not gonna lie, I've done really bad about promoting that last album. But if you have, like, let's say one monthly listen, right? Well, a venue is going to be like, well, what? Why is it only one? You know, like, what's going on? I'm not knocking on that by any means, because I'm one of those, like, one, right? So it's one of those things. Um, but if there's this person that has like 100,000 monthly streams, well, the venue owner is going to be like, oh, they must be, you know, people are listening to them, so we're going to get them in. So Spotify is kind of immeasurable. So it's always good that people listen to the music, especially these up and coming guys. And um, I mean, there's some guys. I met a guy a couple weeks back. His name was Sterling Elza, and he's kind of a new up and coming guy. Really solid band. I really enjoyed going to the show and kind of listening. I found out after the fact. Apparently, it was a private event and we crashed it, so that was fun. Uh, yeah, we showed up and we were like, I had a buddy of mine that his friend was the bass player in the band, and we just showed up, and everybody's kind of staring at us. And somebody, when we walked through the gate, they were like, so who are you with? I was like, these two guys. And those two guys were like, we're with whom? We didn't know what they were asking. Well, we found out, oh, it's a private event. That's why they're asking who we're with. But that guy, he was pretty solid. And he seems like he's kind of on an upward trend. And there's a lot of other guys. One guy I've kind of been listening to a lot lately is Alex Engelhart, and I've got some stuff I'm working on soon that we're gonna on some social media you know, kind of like my other videos I've done where I played all the instruments, songs of other artists. Uh, we're gonna do some stuff like that, and that's one of the guys I think we're gonna cover. But yeah, no, it's always good. I know I can ramble on for hours about nothing. I mean, I'm a very talkative person, but
So am I.
when people are streaming the music, and I definitely appreciate y'all for always promoting it like that. It goes a long way, more than people probably realize.
Exactly. And that's why, it's kind of, it's not the same thing, but it's kind of the best analogy I know is it's kind of like with Team Awesomism. We're not out there getting these $50,000 donors because, first of all, we're an LLC, not a 501c3 for many reasons. And it's what I wanted. But, so if we get a lot of hits on our website, one of the way that we fund the Academy is by having a $40 teammates club, right? And it's only $40 for the year, which is like $3.33 a month. I mean, it's nothing. Okay. It's like a cup of coffee. And if somebody talks about our virtual academy or, retweets us or puts us back on Instagram and people go to our website, then we go up in the SEO rankings. So if somebody puts in autism, they go to our website, and that may mean the difference between us getting a sponsor or a supporter. If we're out there every day fighting for it, we don't get it as much if no one's, doing it. That's why, like you and Cowboy DeHaan and a couple of these other guys that I absolutely love, Justin Lynn Bailey. I love you guys. I love your music. I love what you're doing. And I put your songs into even stories, and I put you on a lot of times. I do, at you so that it,
Hmm.
because I feel like if I'm getting 250 people to look at my story, somebody may just go, hey, I really like that song, add it to their playlist. They're listening to it in the car, somebody else is in there. That's how it works,
Hmm.
and I can only do what I can do, but I feel like the more I talk about you, the more I wear your shirt, the more I listen to you, the more people are going to hear about you. And that's why I always encourage people, please listen to the up and coming guys. Put them on your playlist, get out there, talk about them, wear their t-shirts if they have a t-shirt, buy it, and promote their albums. Because again, the more that people hear you, the more they're going to like you. And that's the way you get it. It's, I get so irritated, even like with TV, with voiceovers, and they'll do a voiceover and they'll have some guy from, like, when Seinfeld was the greatest show, and they'll have a Seinfeld person. And I'm like, come on, everybody knows them. Let's pick up some guy who's trying to feed his four kids, who's got an amazing voice. Give him the voiceover, you know? And that's kind of why I was so excited to have you on here. Because again, I'm not just saying this, you are my very favorite musician, country artist. And to be able to put you on the podcast, push your music is everything to me. And you allowing us to use your music on our Team Awesomism Virtual Academy. I want everybody that listens to our podcast or listens to your music that's in the autism world to go and add you to their playlist, because you're supporting the autism community. You're saying, hey, look, I support the autism community. You can use my music. That's huge to me. That's really big to me. And that's why I was excited to have you on our podcast, because to me, what you're doing is a favor to us, and we want to do it back to you. And plus, we love your music.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I love what you guys are doing. I think we need more types of the I call it, community serviceable type of acts of good, like
Yep.
everything else stands on a platform of like positivity, right? And like that's big, and y'all are really nice people, and that's
Oh,
even bigger to
thanks.
me, and I've always said, so like the guys I have in my, they're all really really good guys, and I will always say, and I'll always stand by it. I don't care how talented somebody is. If they're a bad person and give off, I'm not going to put them in my band. They could be the best guitar player, in the United States or the world, right? And if a bad attitude and they're just, not reflecting positivity, right? You know, I don't need that, you know, and stuff with positive
Amen.
people. And,
Yep.
oh yeah, yeah.
Completely
It,
agree.
it's just good to do that.
I completely agree. That's part of the reason why, it's called Team Awesomism and I'm Awesomism Mom, is because when I found out that Peyton had autism, I realized it right away. But when I found out Peyton had autism, I told him right away, you have awesomism, not autism. Because and I always told him, God made you the awesome one. Okay. Because I wanted him to go through life looking at his autism as a positive and what he could do to show other people that even though he maybe couldn't do or doesn't do things the way the rest of us do all the time, that doesn't make him less. That allows him to show how he overcomes all these struggles. When he was little and his siblings would sometimes get frustrated because I had to give extra attention to him, and he has 3 older siblings. And I would say to him, look, he didn't ask to be born autistic. And you know what? If we all have a positive attitude about the autism, it overflows into the world because autistic adults struggle enough. They have a 75 to 85% unemployment rate, which is just ridiculous. I mean, this is horrible that we as society aren't doing something about it. And second of all, there's so many of them that are lonely, especially in the smaller towns and rural areas. And that's why we're going into the smaller towns and rural areas and saying, hey, we're virtual. Hey, guess what? We have an amazing academy, and you can hook up with people like Brandon and listen to his music. We have, a country music class we're putting on there, putting, your music on there and other ones, because we want them to see the positive side to life. We all struggle. Like, you as an up and coming artist, you struggle. But guess what? If we all stick together and we do positivity and we help each other, we can make it work. There's 325 million people in America. 325 million. Think about that. If 1 million people listen to your music, what a difference that makes. Right? And
Yeah.
you know what? And guess what? That doesn't mean that 1 million people only listen to you. They can go pick 25 up and coming artists and put them on their playlist and listen to them going to work, on when they're working out, walking around in the house, whatever. Guess what? You're now changing 25 up and coming music artists' lives, right? And that's just 1 million of the 325 million. So if 35 million people each went and picked, 25, in the millions category, that's 35 times. Look at all the people we could change. And people need to just stop repetitive of the same thing and just keep making that bigger. Let's support small business. Let's support small country music artists or whatever music genre. I don't know why anybody listens to anything else, but hey, that's just me. But country music, listen to Brandon. Go put him on your, and if you don't like country music, I promise you somebody does. Go recommend 5, 6, 7, 8 up and country music artists to small businesses, to other places. And let's get it going. Let's start this roll of positivity. The world is negative enough. And, same thing with awesomism. We have on the back of our car, when we're traveling everywhere, we have on the back of our car, turning autism into awesomism, teamawesomism.com. And, that's why we have you on our website. People Google search it, they see your name, boom. They, listen to you.
Uh-huh. They'd be like, "Oh wow, he's so awesome! I want to listen to his music now."
See, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're trying to change lives through through positivity. It's the only way to do it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure. And I think you kind of cut it out at the signal or not. But right at the end there, you were kind of cutting out a little bit. It was freezing on me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
But who knows? It could be my end too. I was trying to turn my thing on, or I don't know. Maybe it's an antenna on my end. I can move. I don't know. But yeah.
What it
Oh, go ahead.
probably is we're in a hotel, so our internet isn't all that great. That's probably it.
Yeah, fortunately.
That's all right. We make it work. As we're going here.
Yeah,
But yeah, no,
exactly.
I agree with everything you said. It makes when people listen and recommend. Recommend is a big thing, right? And I have a few buddies of mine. One of them lives in Tomball area, right, in Houston, and he's a big like listens to all upcoming guys. That's what he loves to like find new up and coming guys. So he's one of those, and his name is Nick. And if you ever see this, he'll be like, "Hey man, thanks for the shout out." But he's real big on new artists, and he sends me. He's got a playlist. I mean, it's on Spotify. It's in his playlist, and so he's always sending me like new recommendations. And when he sends me something, I'm like, hey, let me go look up this artist. And I found a lot of artists, especially like the past month, and I'm like, they've got some really good stuff. And so, I'm gonna try to, I don't know, maybe these guys maybe they'll find it, cool. Maybe they, I don't know, but I'm gonna do some covers coming up here of some of these new guys' music because they're just like me trying to make it, and good music no matter where it comes from. And it's funny too that you were talking about, how some artists that people don't know, right? And then all of a sudden they get big or whatever because of the support. So there's a guy named Corey Kent, blown up. But I've known him since 2018, when he went by a name at that time. And his music was really good back then. And then I went to see him live for the first series in College Station, Texas, and he was opening for Randy Rodgers. I'll never forget very few opening bands that I've ever seen that he got done playing and my jaw was just dropped and I was like, what just happened? It was so good. And I didn't know what to say. But ever since that moment on, it was just good stuff for guys like that, But yeah, I like supporting that as much as, people support me in that sense.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. And that's why we were so excited to have you on today. And we really thank you for coming on. We don't want to take up too much of your time. We know you're busy, but if you're listening to this podcast, please share it with your friends. Please share his music. It's Brandon Hodde, Hodde. And you can, any podcast you listen to ours, you'll hear his music on it. And go look him up. Put him on your playlist. Put other small country artists. Spread that word, because you know what? Together we can really help each other make it. Not everybody's trying to become a billionaire off of music, I mean, yeah, obviously it's nice, but it's kind of like I was talking to a friend of mine who owns a small business. She owns a store, and she said, "I'm not trying to become a mega millionaire off of this. I'm just trying to, earn a living." And she said, if I can pay my bills and have some left over so I can help other people, and I can buy from other small businesses and sell in my business, independent people that are making stuff, she said, you know what, then I'm successful. And that's how I feel. If we can get people to listen to your music and get out there and spread the word and wear your shirts, and they're at, like I said, they're at a local restaurant and they play local music or they play up and coming artists, talk to the owners, say, hey, would you be willing to put this on a playlist? Because a lot of people, that's how they put their music in their stores now too, is through playlists, and make your playlist and get it out there. And we just wanted to have you on here because we're so thankful for your support. And again, I know you're more shy and you're more humble, but I'm going to tell you, you are hands down my favorite country music artist.
Yeah, you're awesome, Brandon.
Yeah, you are. We love your stuff.
Brandon, I got one question for you.
Yeah.
What made you get into becoming a country music artist?
Oh, can you say it one more time? I think you broke out.
Sure, yeah. What made you getting into becoming a country music artist?
Originally, it was probably for the wrong reasons. I was in it originally to just make music and have fun, right? And have that. I was in college, right, at the time. So I was like, man, this is gonna help your girlfriend. Like I had that mentality, right? And I call that the wrong reasons, right? Because else, just do it for yourself. And you know, the more I started doing it right, and an ex girlfriend of mine, she told me at one point when I was doing this music thing, she was like, "Look, she's like, you're not having fun." She said, you know, you're too focused on taking it, running it just as a business, as opposed to enjoying, you know, the small things about it too. And so, uh, and she was right, right. So I actually did take some time off, and that was last year. That's why I kind of fell off the face of the earth there for a little while. I had to get back to a point, you know, being fun for what I'm doing. And I took the time off to really write a lot of songs. And I have this new album. Well, spoiler alert, I have this new album. I kept saying I wasn't gonna spoil that, but yeah, okay, it's out there. I have a new album coming out in a few months. And it's got some songs from the heart on it. And really what I'm in it for now is hoping that somebody can relate to it, and they can use my music as an escape for them. I'm not here to be a millionaire. I'm not here to be George Strait. I'm not trying to be famous or anything like that. I'm just hoping that my music helps somebody else. Like some music has helped me through some hard times. And you know, I lost my grandpa a few years ago, and I lost my brother 2 years ago. And music has been really a staple in my life. It's really created the positivity that you know we surround ourselves with, and it helped me get through some really hard times. And I'm hoping that my music can help somebody else, you know, hear a song and say, hey, you know, I'm not alone out there. You know, somebody
Yeah.
else
Yeah,
feeling
exactly.
these emotions too, right? And so I would say this new album, I've got a song coming out next week. It's called Heaven Forbid. Um, and I've actually not got to tell anybody the story yet, but where this song came from. So I'll just tell you all right. And so my dad, a long time ago, he told me that his grandpa and him got into an argument, into a fight, right? Well, before they talked again, my great grandpa went severely downhill health wise. He was on his deathbed, and um, my dad, all he could think about was their fight, like their argument, right? And so he did get to have a final goodbye with his grandpa, and he did get to make up and talk with his grandpa before he passed. But he always told me growing up, he said, you know, watch what you say to other people because you never know when it's going to be the last time that you talk to that person. So if you know if he wouldn't have got to say goodbye to his grandpa, the last memory that he would have of him is their argument and their fight, right?
Yeah.
And I've had some personal things happen to me in the past, you know, 2 years or so that you know I've made some mistakes myself. You know, we're all human, and I've said things that I regret to certain people, and you know, it really had me thinking. I went through a rough time, you know, recently too when I wrote that song, and it just made me think about you know what kind of image are we portraying and stuff. And so I wrote the song "Heaven Forbid," and the whole byline of it is, you know, heaven forbid if something happened to someone you know, type of thing. So I got that song, but then I've got some other songs on that album that are, I say heavy hitters. It's kind of demographic, right? So some songs are going to relate to some people and some won't, right? And
Right.
if you're in the demographic where you understand the emotions being portrayed, then it's easier to relate with it, right? But yeah, you know, just to answer your question, I think I'm in country music now just to relate with people, and if someone can understand my emotions and relate with that, and it helps them, and you know helps them know that they're not alone, and that's really what I'm here for at this point.
I love that because, that's something that they say for autistic adults too, is that music is a good therapy for them. So that's why too, we like promoting music on the virtual academy because, and if they can relate to the songs and like you said, going through a rough time, a lot of autistic adults go through very rough times because they feel very alone, they're worried, they stress about things. And so if listening to your music can help them get through that, and change their mindset or calm them or lower their anxiety, that's a win-win for everybody.
So true.
Yeah, absolutely. And I recently, I'll tell you, I ran into an autistic musician,
Oh, wow.
and that
Oh,
man
nice.
was the most incredible musician I have ever seen in my life. I mean, he plays like 30 instruments, and he plays them all like masterfully. And this guy, and he's blind too, right?
Oh,
So
wow.
he has even more like troubles in the senses, right? And so he's playing guitar with the guitar sitting on his lap, and he doesn't really strum. He plays like a piano in a sense, right? And while he is playing the guitar, and I'm talking like very well, he's singing on top of it. And a lot of people know that singing and playing at the same time, it takes two sides of your brain in that sense. I'm not a
Right.
scientist. That's how it works in my brain. And this guy was just incredible. And I was like, man, I was like, that is so awesome. That like you're saying, it's awesomism, right? And he was defining that. It was beyond this world.
I love that. I love that story. See, and that's encouraging. And I hope that the autistic adults that listen to this podcast are encouraged that if they like music, pursue it. Too often society is telling these autistic adults, you can't do things, you can't be things, you can't see things, you can't, relate to things. And that's not true. And that's why too, like, having you on this is important to us, because if there's an autistic adult that wants to pursue music, do it, go for it. It really, it opens up the world to them. So, again, I just wanted to say thank you. I didn't want to take up too much of your time. I wanted to say thank you, and I really appreciate you being on. Can't wait for your new album. We will be promoting it everywhere. And in the meantime, I'll keep putting your songs in my stories because that's what I do. And we want to send you one. You can text me your address. We want to send you one of our t-shirts since you're now one of our undefeated Academy guys.
Yes, ma'am. We can do that. Would
Thank
love
you.
that.
Thank
you
you.
so much, Brandon.
Thank you so much, Brandon. And we really appreciate you being our guest.
Absolutely. Anytime. Y'all let me know if y'all want to chat some more.
Okay, we will. We
Yeah.
definitely will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great talking to you, Brandon.
Yes, sir. You too.
Thanks.
Take care.
And keep up with the music.
Yeah. Keep putting it out because we listen to it all the time. We need new music.
Yeah.
Oh, you can count on it. I've got a lot of good stuff coming up. So
Yay.
Woohoo. Way to go.
Well, y'all have a good evening then.
You too.
You too.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.